What's up? What's up, everybody? We out here. You already know what time it is. Shoot a fat with Smoove on a special day. We got a special guest in the building. We're gonna get into in just a second over there, and we're gonna play our little music. In here today. In here today. In here today. Anybody jumping in? Please drop your comments and stuff. It would be greatly appreciated. Perfect. And then we're gonna do. All right, all right, all right. I see the people jumping in. I see you jumping in. Appreciate you. Um, right off the rip, please do like, share, and subscribe. We're about to get busy with it. Do not be bashful. Do not be bashful. There you go. We got a couple people in here. I'm sure it's gonna get flooded in here in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the intro real fast, and then we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna introduce our guest, and we're gonna get right to it. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So this is where we are. I don't know what's going on with that camera, but we're gonna have to pull it. Yeah. So we got a special guest with us today. So I'm gonna go ahead and allow our special guest to introduce themselves. Definitely a friend to the show. Let me put them on in. Here we are. Now here we go.
Okay, is it my turn? Is it
Yes,
time
it
for me to
is. Yes, it
speak?
is. Yes, it is. It is
Oh,
certainly
okay.
all up
How are
in your
you
turn.
guys doing? Okay, how are you doing? My name is Goddess Masterpiece. I'm also a content creator here on YouTube. Um, Actually, I think me and Smoove met in a weird way, if I can recall. I think I was talking about one of his faves, and then he came over and to see what I was talking about. Is that correct? Do you remember how we met or how we got
Oh
put
yeah, no,
into each
I
other?
remember. I remember.
Oh,
So
okay.
what ended up happening? We you came up in my algorithm, right? And
Okay.
I clicked on it. It was an interesting conversation. You were talking about
Okay.
men and women, kind of like what we're about to have going on today. And the main difference was that I realized right away. We were able to have a conversation, and you listened, I listened, and we were able to understand each other's perspectives. Those who were familiar with me know it doesn't always go that way. It doesn't always go that way, but that's why I said I did want to talk to somebody who was willing to listen. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciated that. I feel like we could be this could be pretty productive because in a lot of cases you get to people who try to talk about relationships and it ends up being a war and people just so hard headed and they won't listen. And
Right.
for me, I feel like what's the purpose if we can't converse? Where are we going to get? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where where
Absolutely.
where are we gonna get? There's no way. So that's why I figured we could do this. I wanted to do this in front of my crowd. Um, I call them the mobsters. Uh,
Okay.
you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
mobsters.
Yeah, they in
Okay.
here. They jumping in deep. And they got a couple comments. Let me see what I can throw on the screen over here. Oh, it's a lot of cats getting in there. Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna go through a couple of these, and then we're gonna get right into it too. Just so you know, we're gonna get
Okay,
into
let's get into it.
it.
Let's get into it.
Joe Green Film said first. The homeboy sharpshooter Sharif Adams. What's up? He in here. Appreciate you for coming through. GC up in here. What's the word, champ? Um, looking forward to this discussion. Okay. Yeah. Great. Relationship Talk with G's podcast is up in his piece. Saturday night with Smoove. We know we used to do it our Wednesdays thing. So, okay. Okay. Uh-oh, we got another person in here. People pouring in with these comments. That's what's up.
All right.
Hey, fine as hell. Welcome
Oh,
to the clubs. Uh-oh, Relationship Talk
thank
with G's
you.
podcast said you fine as hell.
Oh, well, thank
Uh-oh.
you. I'll
All
take the
right,
compliment.
I'm the bouncer. Just
Hmm.
joined. Anybody who did not is not familiar with what we got going on here, please do like, share, and subscribe. Jump in. Definitely share this piece. I expect this conversation to be very interesting. And all right, I gotta fix one damn thing real quick because for whatever
Okay.
reason, I got a crazy echo in my ear. I don't know what the hell. Is your joint mad loud where you at? I want to know if it's coming in
I
from you.
can
Is yours loud
from
where you
me.
coming from? Like is yours playing loud in your background? Hold on, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do something
No,
real
it's
quick.
not.
No, it's not coming from you. Okay. Tell you what. I think that's what happened there.
Better? Better?
Wait, it's a little low. You
It's
got a
low.
little
It's low
low.
now. It's low. Can you hear
All
me?
right, that's good.
All right. Cool.
That's
Cool.
good.
All right. Cool. Cool.
That's
Cool.
good.
All right. So we gonna jump right into it. Y'all been waiting for it.
Yes, let's listen to it.
All right. Let me get that comment off the screen real quick. Boom. So, in your personal opinion, right,
Okay.
for a desirable man, right, somebody who, you would desire that you would say, look, I could really be with a cat like this, right? Maybe they have a good mindset. They're responsible. They're making the bread. They're doing what they're supposed to do, and they know how to treat a lady. Um, what do you feel like would be some attributes that he would appreciate in a woman, or what are the most important attributes you would think he would appreciate?
That man would appreciate in a woman if he
Yes.
has all of those qualities.
Yeah. What do you think he would appreciate?
Oh, okay. I would assume he would appreciate someone with similar qualities. Someone that has their ish together, so to speak. Somebody that has ambition, drive,
Wait, 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 wait.
presents themselves
I don't want to
well.
jump you, but I do want to hear when you say if a woman has her shit together, what does that mean to you?
Mhm. All right, so that's a layered answer, and I know you're not gonna probably understand where I'm coming from,
No,
but I
I'll
always
dig it.
say because this is a all right. So it was a video that I did like a couple of years ago that got some negative publicity where I said a woman is the table and a man has to set it, right? So yeah, so a couple of guys from the manosphere was not feeling that. What I meant by that, and this is what I do believe, is that women come with the table already, and it doesn't have anything to do with finances. If this is a good woman, not any woman, a good
Okay.
woman that has natural gifts, cooking, cleaning, she brings that peace to a relationship. She's that they say the man is the head and the woman is the neck. So if she brings that energy to a man that he needs, then she has worth. She has value. It doesn't really take money to give a woman value. Now, in these times, men expect us to have money. They expect us to have a career. But it's a catch 22 because within that career, they also want us to be submissive in a sense. So to me, it's very hard to balance being the ultimate woman that comes with everything but still knows how to treat a man like a man. So how do you feel about that?
I definitely want to get some more depth, but I'm going to go into it. It seems like you're on the right track. Um,
Okay.
what I will say is, at the very least,
Mm-hmm.
you recognize, which a lot of women don't, that there is an effort that needs to be brought also by the woman, right? You're talking about giving good energy and stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, I do want to
Mm-hmm.
get into specifics about this energy because I like that. That's a very good thing, but I want to know specifically what you mean by that with that good energy. What would you do
What would I do in as far as what in
as
a
far as
any
bringing good
relationship?
energy? What do you think that entails as far as like a man loving energy about a
Mm-hmm.
woman? What is it that she does to make him love her energy?
I'm gonna be honest. I have not. I don't think I've gotten to that answer. I'm gonna be
Okay.
honest with you.
Well,
Um.
listen. I'm gonna give you an ultra comment for that, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why because you didn't act like you knew. A lot of people act like they know, and they don't know. And I'm gonna do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. I'm gonna try to answer these questions too once we get past this part. And maybe I do know. I could be on. I could be off. But the just the idea that you would say that, I'm extremely impressed. I'm more impressed with that answer than a lot of these uh, women who would say and try to sound educated and they don't know the first thing. If you don't know, it's nothing wrong with not knowing and trying to get a male's perspective to
Mm-hmm.
understand. And I'm going to tell you what's extremely important. I'll tell you what's most important as far as the
Okay.
energy wise. I would say
Okay.
peace. When a man comes home, like let's say he's the provider, he's the breadwinner, and he's making it so you can
Mm-hmm.
relax or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of women who go to get on there and then do the whole pick me thing, and I hear them say the right things, but then you'll watch a video with them later, and they'll be on a whole nother page. I got an example. I'm gonna do a video on that later on. But for real, a man
Yeah.
just wants to come home and it to be his oasis. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stress, particularly as a black man. All men go through stress, but there are certain obstacles that black men have to deal with that are different, right? Like when you see police, I don't know if you ever played Need for Speed. Every time you see him, it's like you see the slow mo. Every time you see him, like, oh, is he going to bother him? And you're not doing anything wrong, but you know that
Right.
just for you just looking the way you look, that you can potentially be pulled
Mm-hmm.
over for no other reason than that. That's
Right.
and you may not make it out of the situation. We've seen many situations where you
Right.
know what I'm saying. So it's just one of them things. That's one extra element that we have to deal with that the average person doesn't. Um,
Right.
work is different. You know, some of us work. A lot of us ain't at the desk and all that. A lot of us are doing these dangerous, laborious jobs, right? And they're
Right.
stressful.
Absolutely.
We're now in a metrics based society where people are cracking a whip and monitoring every single move you make. Technology has made jobs so much harder lately. So there's a lot of added stress, and it's no excuse, but it's just it's great to understand these things. So when that dude
Right.
come home, well, what could you do? You know what I'm saying? And it's just about offering peace. It may not be asking him about his day. You can and see how it goes. Some people like to talk about the day. Some people like to leave work at work. Me, I'm one of them dudes. I
Right.
brush over it, but I kind of leave work at
Absolutely.
work because I don't want to revisit it. Once I left work, I forgot I worked there until
You
6 o'clock
don't.
the next morning when I got to wake up for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about my next move, what I'm ambitious about, what I'm excited about. If a dude was the breadwinner to the point where, and there's different dynamics depending on what your relationship is, because if you were not that guy that can make it so his wife doesn't have to work, then you're going to end up um, not having the gender roles that you would have imagined. You know what I'm saying? Because our older roles, right, you know, 50s, 60s, and before, were to
Mm-hmm.
protect and provide. That was pretty much what it is. Today, women are providing. right? They're going out there work and dealing with the workforces and the stresses and everything that you are. So if you were not that guy that can't that can't make it so his wife doesn't have to work and she can cater to you, then you're gonna have to do some extra things. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You can't
Right.
have it both ways. If she's working and busting it down like you
Mm,
busting it down, it's difficult for her to say that you're gonna go that she's gonna cook every day unless you make that type of arrangement. You can, but then there might be some other masculine things
right.
that he does. You don't ever like. I'll put it like this: I whether my wife works or doesn't, I do very little cooking, but my wife don't have to touch trash. Before my son was born, he do it now. But I used to take out the trash. She never had to touch it. You know what I'm saying? She would
Right.
never suffer slow in her life. I'll clean off all three cars in the morning and leave. You know what I'm saying? I don't have her do certain things. If something that needs to be fixed in the house, as long as I'm able to do it, I'll do it. Mowing the lawn, I do it. She doesn't ever have to touch the masculine work ever. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
that's what that arrangement is like. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate for a little while where I was able to give her some time off so we could raise our children more traditionally. And that's what we do. And no matter what it is, there's always that mutual respect. And it is a team, regardless of what. I do consider myself the captain. It is what it is. But it doesn't mean that there's any less respect for anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what I think. As far as the
okay.
energy, peace, how do you make sure he has peace? It's just about trying to be considerate and completing what it is that he doesn't do. As far as let's say he doesn't cook or whatever. Maybe he want a back rub or something. When you go out of your way to do something like that, a dude feel differently about you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's different. That's not something that everybody does. When a person goes out of their way to consider you, I'm going to tell you the most important element of a relationship, in my personal opinion: consideration. And I'm gonna tell you why. I say consideration because when a lady goes out of her way, your lady goes out of her way to think of what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and fulfill it before you even have to ask, you're going to feel
Mm,
differently about her. You're going to want to go to the moon for her if you have to. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to do everything to make sure she's good. So that's where that's at. That's what
okay,
I think.
so I
Go
don't
ahead.
want to cut you off,
No, go ahead. You good.
but
I'll cut
when you
myself off.
asked the question,
Combo
I
breaker.
didn't
Go ahead.
I didn't want to impose my belief on what a man's peace would be because I can't speak for men. I can speak for myself and say I feel I have done things to give a man peace, but at the same time, if it's the wrong man, right, that you're
Mm-hmm.
you're you're giving all of this good energy to, this is where the disconnect comes from with I think
Oh yeah.
some women, some black women that are labeled angry or whatever, bitter, is because when you give your energy to the wrong man and you're doing all those things, massages and cooking and cleaning and all those things, I'm giving you space, all of that, they still find a way to dog you out. So
Yes. Yes. And I
that's
know.
the wrong man, though. That's the wrong man. And I'm not saying that, those things aren't good for the right person that is appreciative of it. Because some
Yes.
men will take advantage and they really don't consider how you're going out of your way for him.
Yes. And
So that's all I'm saying. You're a good guy, but there's a lot of jerks out here.
oh yeah. And I'm gonna tell you what. I'm not even gonna use that phrase. I gotta let them know what people say, and I know people hate it. I'm not gonna say it to you, but people say choose better, but they don't explain what that means, right? They don't ever explain it because the phrase itself is not bad, but to hear the phrase without any type of context is very bad, right? So with that, what I
Absolutely.
would say is, what does it mean to choose better? Um,
Right.
it's basically men and women have to realize this. Where do you fall as far as your SMV is
Hmm.
concerned, your sexual marketplace value, right? And it sounds really silly at, if you listen at face value, right? But there is some validity to it. And I'll tell you what, it's just about understanding where you stand in it, right? What's valuable to men, what is not. And you have to understand that if you have some disadvantages, you have to work harder at others. If a man is 5'5", his sexual marketplace value is lower. He's going to have to be real cool. He's going to have extra swag, right? He's going to have a little more bread to do the same as somebody else who's 6'4", like myself. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's just that's how it go. So, and in the women's case, there's certain things that would weigh against them, right? Um, in a lot of cases, it could be age, but that depends on who you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? If they are looking to start a family, right? And a lot of people say there's no hope for women who are over 30. I'm like, you stupid. There are a bunch of men who have already been married and maybe just want somebody else, people that are in their 40s. There are people that are in their 50s that still do want somebody. They just have to feel like this particular woman is worth it. So it isn't over with that whole proverbial wall. I don't believe in that. What I will say is you're not going to get that same 25-year-old rich dude, but there could be somebody else who is very valuable, very considerate, very honest that you can have for yourself. And what I will say, go ahead. What I will say, and I say to men and women, if you are not attracting the type of women that you want, if you are not attracting the type of men that you want, they feeling you over here. You getting the hey gorgeous all that they feeling you over here. Oh, I was talking
Thank
about the
you.
choose better phrase, Jay. I'm sorry. It was choose better. That's the one that I was saying. That's what I said. But damn, now I lost my train of thought. but basically, if you're not getting the results that you want, then it's time to see what it is
Right.
that you can improve on. Right? As a man, when I was about 15 years old, long time ago, I won't say that what year that was. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. A long time ago, when I was 15 years old, I got my heart broken twice in 1 year, and I didn't know what it was because I was what I thought a boyfriend should be. I was nice to them, right? I was trying to be considerate, whatever I could do. I didn't have a bunch of bread, but I would do what I could. You know what I'm saying? And same females would treat other guys better. I didn't understand what was going on with that. And I literally had to evaluate myself and improve. I reinvented myself. And unfortunately, for that particular phase of my life, I ended up being what they would have considered to be red pill, nearly black pill. I don't know if you know about the black pill. Black pill is like damn near hatred. I was, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's where I was at one point, where it was just like, nah, forget these bras, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to really just be out here. You know what I'm saying? Men go through that phase after, but it's after heartbreak. They made me like that. You know what I'm saying? And a person can't really make you like that, but I'm just telling you, that was my motivation by getting my heart broken and then it not working and then me not caring and then it working. You know what I'm saying? When I paid less attention to them, when I didn't care about them, when I would mistreat them, they would come closer to me. They would yearn for me more. And I'm like, why does this work? You know what I'm saying? It didn't make any sense. I got out of that phase by a young adult, though, to be honest. I always understood it. I do realize that this kind of goes back to what you were saying a little while ago, where women are choosing these type of dudes. They were trying to choose the jerk that I was back in the day because that's what they were attracted to. It's not just woman nature, and a lot of people say things are woman nature. It's human nature to yearn things that you can't have easily. So the harder it was to obtain my interest, the harder it was to obtain my affection, the more they yearn for it. And that's where it was at. But as women mature, they don't look for the same types of things. The problem is,
Absolutely. Now they want the attention.
yeah, the
Yeah,
problem
go
with
ahead.
this is a lot of women mature
Mhm.
very late. They go and have hot girl summers all the way through the 20s and all of that. And you can get a man at in your 30s and stuff like that, but it's not impossible, right? But it's less likely. The likelihood of you getting the same type of man after that is more slim. You won't get that rich guy that's a millionaire and you know what I mean? Not to say it's impossible because it
Mhm.
happens. It does happen. But you would have to try harder and you would have to really position yourself in places where these men are. You would have to be a lot more strategic about it. You can't do the same things that your friends are doing and expect a better result. You would have to go extra hard if you wanted that type of man. Because there are some women who pull it off. I see it happen. You'd be like, man, she got 3 kids already. She a little older, but how she get that? She worked on it. She had to go get it. And a lot of it might have been, and most likely would have been her behaviors and just being that peace. Because a lot of men, there's certain things that certain men just, it's their kryptonite. If it's a really peaceful, feminine woman who is taking her time to really get to know you and to understand what it is that she can do for you, just a selfless person, that's extremely attractive to a man. He said, DC says sexual marketplace value, truth be told. I'm going to just read a couple of these. These days, I find it important to find out true intentions, and women have to trust their intuition on the vibes. I hear you.
Oh wait,
If you're really
but
good at that, go ahead. Do
before
what you got to do.
before you breeze past that sexual marketplace value by
Go ahead.
GC,
Go ahead.
I also want
I'll bring
to
it back
I want
up.
to address
I'll bring
that.
it back up. I'll bring it back up.
I want to address that because I called into Kevin Samuel's show. I'm sure you were a fan of Kevin.
Yeah, she was a call. You asked
Yeah.
me. He wasn't appreciative of
Yeah,
what you
no,
had to say right off the rip.
he wasn't, but let's get into it very briefly
Go
because
ahead.
he said, "Ladies, bring the smoke." I brought the smoke. I waited for an hour backstage.
Damn.
He said, "What's your disagreement?" I said, "How are you, Kevin? My name is Aaliyah. That's my birth name now. I didn't even go by Goddess." I
Gotcha.
said, I didn't hear you say one thing. You didn't say anything about if a high value man has a strong erection. That is a valid question. I don't care if it sounds like, oh, you're a slut, you only think about sex. Sex is important in a relationship. So if you're gonna say you're a high
I
value
concur.
man, just make sure your shit is erect. If you excuse my language, if you're gonna be out here, if I'm just saying, if you're gonna be out here dealing with younger women, do you think you're gonna handle her with the limp noodle? It's not gonna happen.
She worried about getting them rocks off, and I hear you. It's realistic. It is realistic. It is realistic
It's a
because
part sex. If you're gonna say sex is not a big part of a relationship, that is a lie.
it is.
That's a lie.
It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. We got to get our rocks off.
Especially when that's how Kevin Samuels died, trying to get some. So it's important.
Ooh, baby.
I'm just saying it's important. So let's not act like, oh my God, you sound like a slut. All of us are here because of sex.
Okay.
So let's stop this. Right?
Gotcha.
Okay. So that wasn't the only thing, because that particular show wasn't about relationships. He said, ladies, bring the smoke. So I also want to reiterate that for the people that was coming in heckling, saying, oh my God, that's not important. Look, that was a classless question. It's not, because y'all talk about what? Sexual marketplace value. So we have the right, as older women, I'm about to be 40 next year, I have the right to ask about yours too.
This is true.
Period.
This is true. Now, let me tell you something. That's loaded, but it's valid. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to address every part of it. Right now,
okay.
I feel like this is important. Right, I do. I really do feel like this is important. However, the problem is this isn't something that most women, not you, because I know it's on your radar, but most women don't consider that when choosing. They consider that after a while of dealing with it and realizing there's no hope. But that time you've wasted some time, and it's a valid situation. You got what, MAGA root and other things. There's a whole bunch of help out here right now, naturally and otherwise. So it ain't no excuse for it at this point. Men, listen, if you ain't stroking out here, man, I don't know what to tell you. You need to get your game up. You need to make sure your blood pressure is good. You need to make sure your calisthenics is right, and take your supplements. Take your
If you want to
supplement.
be out here slinging peen, then make
Okay.
sure you're up to par. Is all I'm saying. Because some of these men lead with their penis move. I'm not even talking about, again, looking for a relationship is one thing,
Uh
but
huh.
men like Kevin Samuels and some of these other men, they're not promoting real relationships, committed relationships. They're promoting getting your passport and go get you a spicy other and
Well,
have fun. They're not saying, oh,
here's what
go
I'll say.
marry them.
Here's what I'm gonna say. A lot of the red pill community does promote that. Kevin Samuels, for the most part, from what I heard, he did promote the marriage. He promoted marriage. He wanted to get families together. I don't agree with necessarily with a lot of his methods, but that's what he was going for. I
Mm,
feel like that might have been phase one. I don't. The way he did it, I wouldn't do it that way because you offend a lot of people, and it's hard to get people to listen when you are just so callous. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to get people to listen. I think he
mm,
could have cooled it down with the insults a bit, but it was entertainment value, and it catapulted him to where he was just because of the reactions. If he were just talking any other way, then it wouldn't have
mm,
worked out the same. And it's unfortunate that people don't listen to positive things. They want to hear
mm,
somebody get cursed out, chewed out. You know how it go. You see how the beef sector do. They get this just because they beef. You know how it go. When you got drama, people there.
mm.
When you talking sense, they ignore. It's unfortunate, and that's pretty much where I think that was. I think a lot of people
Okay.
who
I
are out
mean,
here. Go ahead.
no, I'm saying, I mean, everybody has the right to like who they like.
Yeah,
I can't, say he was a horrible person, but I just, from my standpoint, because we all have different walks of life. You got to remember, we all come from different places, and I truly believe that makes us react the way we react to relationships
sure,
or our upbringing. It's a lot of different factors because it's people that came from two parent homes that are totally confused about relationships. So
absolutely.
it's really your
Two bad parents.
environment, upbringing, huh?
Two bad parents. Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Like I see it on YouTube all the time. People will say they came from a two parent home, but why are they still single? Why
It
are they
happens.
not in a successful relationship? So again, we all have our issues.
Sure.
But what I didn't like about Kevin, how he talked down to women, yes, I get it. Some women need to hear where they can improve. But this is where I counteracted with the sexual part because he's talking about women hitting walls, men hit walls too. Men
I
hit
agree.
walls too. And that
I
was
agree.
my point of it.
I agree.
And that was that. And
Me
that's
and
where
you
the
know what?
erection, the strong erection came from.
I'm gonna tell you.
Hmm?
Me and my wife was talking today, and she told me Genuine hit the wall.
Uh,
Genuine hit the wall.
hello.
Like so, it's understood that men hit the proverbial wall as well, right? Now, here's the issue with that. I'm gonna tell you the issue with that. Hugh Hefner was out here getting 20-year-olds, man. Right? The dude who owns the Bunny Ranch getting 20-year-olds. He probably like 80 or something. You know what I mean? And a lot of these dudes with money, if you got so the idea, and look, it's hordes of women going after these guys, right? Leonardo DiCaprio, if he wasn't who he was, you think he would be dumping females on their 25th birthday? Of course not. But the problem is when these men have status, when these men have money, many women mess the game up and give these guys too much attention, too much validation. So, and I'm going to tell you about the other part too, because there's the other side to that too. But when women give these guys the validation, they give them the status, they have the status and they pay attention to it and they go there. It sets the precedent for it. So if women have to stop giving these type of dudes play, women have to stop giving Pookies and Ray Rays play. And men also have to stop giving these IG 304s play, right? Because it's the same situation inverted, right? If women wake up to validation constantly, just because they're beautiful, and this is who men are wasting their time with these women too, because in all honesty, they don't care about these guys. A lot of them are just doing what it is that they want to do. So I feel like it works both ways. Men have to start being more responsible with who they give attention to, who they give validation to, and women has to do the
Mm-hmm.
same. Don't validate these guys. Set the You can change the
Okay.
sexual marketplace value, but you have to change what it is that you pay attention to, what it is that you accept, who it is you give the time of day to. I was guilty of giving the wrong type of females attention, and I paid for it. Fortunately, I wasn't,
Mm.
you know, so old where it was too late. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like you've ever wasted time on a Chad or a Pookie and Ray Ray in your life before?
Of course.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Right.
of
So
course.
right. So
I
now
mean,
I think the clear message that we need to give to the youth, that we really need to give to
mm,
the youth, is to stop bigging these people up who don't deserve it. People who are rotten people, right? Who don't deserve it. Just because you got money and status doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you desirable. A lot of women feel in prison when
mm,
they end up with these guys. Some people don't care and they could just be a robot and whatever, whatever. They just happy. All they care about is the money. And there's a market for that. But a lot of women are miserable when they end up getting with these guys. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So
right.
that's what I feel like is extremely important for us to just stop dealing with these type of men and women. And as far as I don't want to get away from what you were saying before, as far as men with the working noodle, right? Um, how important would you say that is in a relationship? How much percent would you put that on? How important is it for you in particular?
At least 50%, because
fifty
let's be
percent.
honest here. I'm
Woo! She trying to
again,
get the rocks off.
I said at least, and it might be more
You
than
said
that
at least.
because
Woo! I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, let's be honest here because a lot of guys like to front. And that's the problem. There's no future in fronting. So I'm gonna need y'all to listen to this, all right?
Go ahead.
Men
What you
are the
got for that?
ones that lead with their penis.
You think so?
Period, point blank. Yeah, I know so. I'm not saying it's not women out here that's hot in the pants, but for the most part, men are designed. You guys wake up with morning wood. Women don't wake up like that. What? Am I lying?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. That's
Y'all
biological.
wake up ready.
Sometimes I'm gonna tell you something. Anytime between 3 and 5 in the morning is that's just one of the cycles that men go through, right? You may not even have it on your brain, but it's a biological function. You wake up like that between
Hello.
3 and 5 is the peak, but it could go up to like 7 a.m. and different things that happens. But that's biology, right? Could we fault ourselves for biology? Maybe, but what you do with
Okay.
that? Are you disciplined? Do you do the right thing with it? We all wired like that, right? I just did a study a couple weeks ago that showed that more women are cheating than men for sex because they're in miserable relationships because men got them noodles that you talking about, right? So we understand, and I'm glad that you would admit that it's very important to women too, right? So they'll get with a provider, and then they might have to sneak off,
Right.
go to the side, and get their rocks off. Man,
Oh
it is
yes.
what
Oh
it is,
yes.
right? This
So
is the
again,
reality.
so
This is the reality.
you want a beautiful woman on your arm, but she doesn't love you for you. She loves you for what you have. So this is what I try to stress on my channel when it comes to this red pill talk, or
Yeah,
however you want to call it, the manosphere talk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
You
understand, and I
you
want you to
some of
know.
these men and go ahead.
I just not just if you didn't know, I don't subscribe to the red pill community. I do, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I hold men and women accountable. But carry on.
Okay, right. You like I said, me and you can have a conversation. Some others, there's no conversation. They're
Yeah.
gone. They're fried. Some of these men in the red pill community, they're fried. No talking to them. And there's no getting through to them. It's like I'm the type of woman that even though I have a strong personality, I will listen and I will admit where I'm wrong. I will say, you know what? I never thought of that before. I'm not closed minded, but they are. And that's the problem. They want us to submit to men that we don't even know like that. A
I
lot of these,
got one for you
no,
now.
yes, yes,
No, 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 no.
yes.
I
Let
hear
me
you, but
just
I,
say
I
this
said I got
one
a
point.
question. I got a question for you. Once you're done, go
All
ahead.
right,
Finish
go
your
ahead,
thought.
go ahead.
How
No,
do
I
you
was gonna
feel?
say because
Go ahead.
some of these young men, sorry, we cut
No,
each
you
other
good.
off. Some of these young men, that I've spoken to through
Hmm.
my chat or whatever,
Okay.
they'll say they feel like black women are mean to them. Like they don't speak to them in the streets, or they don't smile at them. There's no good interaction with black women. And it's like, so that means that you start hating black women because a couple of women that you may have seen in the street, your approach may not have been right, but you're gonna blame black women for that. So it's
This is what.
like
Go ahead. Go ahead.
childish behavior. No, I'm sorry. It's just childish behavior to me. It's like grow up, grow some balls. Women were made to you know we were groomed to think that we don't make it easy on men. So why are these men so weak that they can't hear a no? They can't take any rejection, and now that is a fact. But I'm gonna let you talk.
All right. As
I'm gonna
far
let you.
as that, right? I'm from the cold approach days, right? Back in the
Mm-hmm,
90s, late 90s. I was with. That's all we had for real, because there wasn't no social media, none of that. So the cold approach was it. So you had to get your game up, right? You got to be able to size the lady up, and just go and say, all right, I know what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna tell you something. The best game was no game. I would just talk straight up. Sometimes I just say something weird. I'd be like, yeah, what's up? I'll tell them my name, and I'd be like, yeah, you should give me your number, and that's it. If they feeling you, they feeling you. It ain't no good or bad. It's gonna count on how you're dressed, how you look, how you smell, and how you walk up. That's it. They feeling you
mm-hmm,
or they not, and they gonna give you the number or not. You can only, the more you say, the more you can put your foot in the mouth, the more you can ruin it. Less is more when it comes to that. Anybody who's down with the cold approach, you go ahead and do it. But what I will say is that there are people now. People whip out their phone and they enjoy just roasting you. You know what I'm saying? They enjoy shutting men down. There are some women who are like that, and it can be very discouraging. And there are some dudes who are a little bit socially awkward, right? These and don't know how to approach women. And as they get these rejections, you don't really get better at it. If you get pure rejections and you don't work on it, you just become more discouraged, more awkward, more tentative, more nervous, and it's not going to work in your
mm-hmm,
favor. You know what I'm saying? So then you have these experiences, and then you go deal with somebody from another race, and they with it, and you was just as
mm-hmm,
corny, just as tentative, and they just, but they don't. Their cool is different. It's a different type of cool. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. You got to be cool as hell to be a black man. They expect you to come out the box cool as hell. They expect you to have swag at different things. And I know you wouldn't mess with no corny dude, right? You be like, oh, he's so corny. It is what it is. Um, So that's why I work on gentlemen. I tell them how to get their game up, how to approach, and different things like that, just so they know how to approach a woman. So the all likelihood that they get the outcome that they're looking for. But it's still very difficult, and I can understand how some of these cats get discouraged. Go ahead.
No, but it's getting taken too far now. Like
Yes,
it's
I agree.
getting way
Explain though. Explain
like
though.
honestly, this whole red pill community, the manosphere community, has created a community of black men that have so much vitriol against black women.
True.
So many black women are getting hurt. They're getting unalived by their partners, and it's an epidemic. Now I know this pandemic did a lot to people, but domestic violence in the
Oh,
black community is really bad right now. It's really bad. And I don't think because mainstream media isn't covering everything, but I'm doing my own research and it's really bad. And it's a lot of men hurting women that's pregnant, that have children, and that's the part that I'm trying to figure out.
got you.
Why is that happening?
I want to put
Why
this
do you
comment
think
real
that's
quick.
happening?
I'm gonna go with that. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with that, but I have to put this comment up. Big up to the socially
Okay.
awkward dudes. They make better fathers than Pookies and Ray Rays. Can you see that comment?
I see that comment.
All right, cool. Now, with that, right? That, but like you said, or what I
Mm-hmm.
was saying earlier, I do tell men how to work on it. Um, I do understand the pandemic has absolutely changed it. That's why I told people before, like since the wintertime, that this was going to be the worst summers ever, right? And you know, Philly wide open right now. That's the closest city I am to. That's where I'm at right now. They wide open because
Okay.
that isolation, the pandemic, what it did was many of us as humans deal with depression. Many of us as humans deal with anxiety. Um, uh, borderline personality disorder, different things. And I discuss all this on the channel. We do mental health, relationships, and how they correlate. And there are people dealing with these things. And then that isolation. A lot of people lost their jobs. They didn't know how they were going to have their income. Rent backed up like crazy. Don't know how their living situation is going to be. People who never dealt with these type of things before, hard workers, people who were in the hospitality industry took a major hit, right? If you worked on a cruise ship, if you worked for an airline, if you know what I'm saying, restaurants, and some of people own businesses, and it failed, and they were never going to come back. And Amazon and the big companies online and everything are not making it any easier for anyone. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that isolation did something to us. And if you weren't mentally strong enough and you were already dealing with things, it made it very
Mm.
difficult for you to come back. And you don't know how to interact with people. You don't know how to talk to people. This internet right here, this social media, got people to text more. Technology got people to text more, interact less, um, and just know how to be around other people. You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans. This is how they get their rocks
Mm.
off now. You know what I'm saying? There's so many crazy things going on that just makes it worse. And unfortunately, it does end up in a situation sometimes where people are deleted because their partner couldn't handle certain things, and it's awful. Um, Again, I always try to discourage men from behaving in that manner. I think it's cowardly to ever put your hands on a woman, and I don't appreciate women doing it either. I think violence is last resort. I would never resort to violence unless it's I am defending myself, but I don't initiate violence. You know what I'm saying, to people who don't deserve
Mm.
it. If somebody's being doing something to a child or something like that, oh yeah, violence is definitely necessary. But as far as me and a female getting into an argument or something like that, it's uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? I can read that comment real quick.
No,
Relationship
that
are being
comment is
podcast. He said,
hilarious. I'm sorry.
with the childish behavior, let me say this. There are a lot of men nowadays that can't take rejection without trying to antagonize her or even trying to hurt the woman. What else is there? Okay. The woman physically. And that's true. We know that. We know that. It's not anecdotal. We understand. Okay, that's the difference between the ends and men. Okay. Joe Green Film says, all right. I'm gonna give you the hard D 50% of the time. I'll pay 50% of the bills. Is it gonna be halfway or not? Do I have to give 100% and still get cheated on? Okay. Would you like to address that one, or any one of those? Anyone you want to
That's
address
the
is
one
cool.
that stood out to me. I'm dying laughing.
Go ahead,
First of
address it.
all, I'm gonna give a hard D 50% of the time. Again, this is my thing about men.
Okay.
I don't know if it's New York City
New York City
because
different.
I haven't lived. New York City is very different. I moved to Houston last year for some time, for most of the year, and total difference. The men are so different. It's just a
Are
different.
the noodles different? Pause.
I'm not gonna talk about the noodles.
We
Let's talk
gotta talk
about
about the noodles. It's
let's.
just a yes or no. Come on, come on. What you think?
We're not talking about the noodles, all right? We're gonna first before we get to the noodles. Let's talk
Okay.
about the approach, and then we could get there,
Okay.
right?
All
So
right. Got you.
New York City is mostly cold. We have every season, but
Yeah.
it's mostly cold, it seems like, right? So,
Yeah.
but it seems like these men don't have it in them to be chivalrous towards us. They not shoveling no snow. They not pumping no gas. I'm
Word.
talking about it'll be a woman's husband in the car and she's pumping gas.
What?
Like it's something about the women of New York City that feel like they either have to compete with men or the men feel like women have to come 50-50 with them, but it's utterly ridiculous. Now let's take it to Houston. These women don't even get out the car. They
Hmm.
go if they go to the store with their husband to pump gas or whatever he's running out to get a pack of gun. They're not lifting a finger. Some of these women never ever pump their own gas. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to do the things that we do. Like New York City, I don't know what it is, but these men are not kings for the most part. I hate to
Got it.
say it.
Real quick,
They're not.
anybody in here, please do like, share, and subscribe this video. If you just coming in, please do jump in, like, share, subscribe. We'd appreciate and love you for it. Do what you got to do. All right, so that's Southern hospitality, right? Um,
Southern hospitality.
I do think it is
They don't.
a bit different, right? It definitely depends on your upbringing and more traditional. Now, I can tell you why that may be from what I noticed, from what I've observed from the women of New York City versus the women of Houston, right? I'm gonna tell
Okay.
you what I noticed that is a little bit different.
Okay.
Many women in New York City, not, and I'm not gonna say all, nothing is absolute, but more women in New York City are more aggressive and more masculine than they are in Houston. Would you agree or disagree?
I would disagree.
You would disagree. You think that the women in Houston are more masculine than the women in
Not
in
gonna
New York
say
City?
they're more masculine, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that the women of Houston are just these dainty
No,
Southern
no, no,
belles
no, no.
either.
We're not gonna say that, but I'm just saying more feminine, right? Eh,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would say they're more feminine in the sense of their way of thinking.
Okay.
Their
And
way of thinking,
behaving maybe and
because it
talking.
starts with the way of thinking.
Yes, it
Hmm?
starts with the
Say
way
that
of
again.
thinking, the way they think, definitely the way they speak sometimes, right? New York City is an
Right.
aggressive city. It's a very aggressive city, right? Period. Everybody's aggressive
Yes.
over there. I understand it, but a lot of that
Absolutely.
aggression is masculine. So it's hard to treat a woman how. And I'm just giving you, this isn't my personal thing because I believe in that and doing it, for every woman, if you are a female, period, right? I don't care if you come out here like a butch, and some of them may be offended sometimes. Hey, look, I'm opening the door because that's just the way I was brought up, right? No matter what.
Mhm.
But there are, it's more difficult for a man to treat you like a lady if you're not feminine. If you don't have that feminine energy,
Okay.
then that's why men would treat you a little bit differently because you were, oh, she got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes women are very aggressive. You try to holler at a joint in New York, you got to have it together because they're gonna shut it down. They're gonna shut it down if they ain't feeling you. So it's just the interactions sometimes. Um, the main thing that men are attracted to is femininity, and what comes with femininity? It's a softness, right? It's a delicateness. It's um, it's just the way that you speak, right? The lingo you use. Some men, I don't like to
Okay.
hear women curse, and not to say never, but not like a lot either. You know what I'm saying? And definitely at me. You know what I mean? And I don't tell people how to talk or how to behave. I would try to find somebody who was already like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to change people because that's the worst thing that you can ever try to do. But as far as what I was always
Mhm.
attracted to and what I would gravitate to would be that as a woman who behaves very femininely. That's my twist, right? So
Okay.
everything, like I'm really pro feminine. I'm kind of weird with it. Like I don't even like if a woman has broad shoulders or big hands, long feet. Any of that is like, nah, I can't touch it. You know what I'm saying? That's me. I've always been extremely attracted to femininity. So that's what I can say
Okay.
that for men. Um, you know what I mean? That's just
Mhm.
that's the main thing that they're attracted to. And
So
I'll give
I
you
want
one.
to double back a little bit
Go ahead. You
before
can.
you
You
get
can.
off this topic,
Go ahead.
because yes, I believe, first of all, we all have duality. We all
Okay.
have masculine and feminine energy. All of us,
I
male,
agree.
female, right? It's just that some of us take on one more than the other, right? Um, for me, yes, I definitely have masculine energy. That's just a given, and that's because of the environment, things I've been
Shout to the truth.
absolutely
Go ahead.
the environment, things I've been through, and you know what, I wouldn't change. I again, I'm a feminine woman because I like feminine things, but dealing with a city like this, and this is why I wanted to leave, you have to have this muscle or you will
Okay.
get eaten alive.
Okay.
Like it's
Okay.
just, it's kind of no way around it, or you will get swallowed whole in these times. In these times, we're not talking about back in the heydays. We're talking about 2022. if you don't have a certain energy about you as a woman, head on a swivel, got to be a little bit dangerous these days. You're gonna get swallowed up in a city
Yes.
like New York.
Okay.
That's
And and
just.
and I understand
Mm,
that part. I understand that part because
mm,
people will take advantage of you if you're soft, like anything else. It's a very aggressive city. So
mm-hmm.
that's that energy. So like you said, get up out of there, yo. Get up out of there because it's difficult. If you're not going to be able to turn that off, right? You're not going to be able to turn that off. Then it's like, what are we going to
Mm-hmm.
do? Because for men to be, that's what men are
Right.
attracted to. You know what I'm saying? But you can't be like that in that environment. So it's a catch-22. So the only option is to be like, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Because not to say you won't find anybody who would appreciate you, but it's going to be very
Mm-hmm.
difficult. You know what I mean? You fight an uphill battle trying to find a suitable mate. It's just that simple. Shout out to all goddess that have had to.
I had to admit, yes,
True,
thank you. That's my sis, Carissa.
true, true, true.
But yeah, we've had again. You seem like a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your story, but
Got it.
for us as Black people, we all didn't come from environments where it was the best environment, and it doesn't mean you didn't come from a two family home. It didn't mean that. Just
Understood.
even going to high school, you may not have lived in a necessarily bad neighborhood, but you may go to
I
high
did.
school with
I grew up
people
in
who
Newark,
are
Brick
from a
City,
bad neighborhood,
Hooterville.
right? What's that? Where you
I
from?
grew up in Hooterville, Brick City, Newark, New Jersey.
Hooterville. Oh,
Hooterville's a part of Newark, New
oh,
Jersey.
Newark.
Mm-hmm. One of the illest
Okay.
cities out there.
Yeah,
So
Newark is
I know what
rough.
it is. Listen, listen. I'm not the same guy that I was. We'll just say that. Listen. To be in that environment, you have to be a certain way, right? That's why I got the hell up out of there. I said I'm not raising kids here. You know what I mean? Me and the wife was like, "Yo, we leaving this entire county. We're gonna go somewhere far." So now I'm in way South Jersey.
No, and
You know
that's
what I mean?
makes
So I dig it.
mm,
You got to be a certain way just to survive out there. You have to.
limiting,
So I understand what you're saying
but
when you say you be.
also
But go ahead.
right. I'm
Go
sorry.
on.
This is a two-part question. Now I don't know if you watched the Fox Soul panel with Sinji and Dr. Umar Johnson,
I didn't see that one
but
yet.
if
But go ahead.
you didn't see it, okay. But just the topic was, is there a war on the Black man?
Okay.
And so, Sinji said something that bothered a lot of Black men. A lot of Black men in the red pill community, they're up in arms right now about what she said. Basically, in so many words, and don't quote me, this is not verbatim, but basically, in so many words, she's saying that Black men is the reason why white supremacy took us over. Black men have not accomplished anything and have not been able to be warriors in a sense, in regards to white supremacy. And this is why we got into slavery. This is why we're in a position that we're in as a Black community, because the Black man didn't really fight the way he should be fighting. How do you feel about that?
Um. mm, there could be some
Mm,
truth to that, right? But what you got to understand is the people who were brought over here, right? Um. There's certain things that they weren't allowed to do. You weren't allowed to read. You weren't. You know what I'm saying? There was some serious conditioning. It was designed to give you
mm,
generational curses, right? That you will not be able to get out
mm,
of, right? They separated you. They segregated you by color code, right?
mm.
Just many different ways to have beef with the amongst each other, and that's one of the ways. That's why it's like that. And if you go to our neighborhoods, it's infiltrated by, you know, other people. Every corner you see somebody else, and there's no way that we can go set up shop anywhere else, anywhere where we can do that and infiltrate their neighborhoods and set up shop. So I understand what you're saying with that. That's another topic for sure. It's an uphill battle. It's going to take a lot
It's
of
an
work and a
uphill
lot of
battle
leader and a
because
lot of leadership
Black men
to be able
are
to fix that.
busy complaining. They're not, sorry to cut you up, but Black
Go
men
ahead.
are complaining for the most part, and Black women have done nothing but have their back.
Got it.
Black
Now,
women as a whole have done nothing but have Black men's back. And when I say have their back, having children with these men that don't deserve our kids, yes, we play a part in being single mothers, right? We play a part in bringing children into a home that's going to be raised by a single mother. But where does the black man take accountability? Where does he take accountability for his penis?
We both we both have to take accountability for that. Seriously. And that's why I go ahead and I preach dual parent household. And it's not always possible, right? But just when some of the states, all right, you're twice as likely to commit suicide. 70% of incarcerees are a product of a single parent home. That's a crazy number, right? So, and that can go up and down with the stats and everything else. So I encourage, it starts with families, right? Because the more you are together, you have a foundation, right? Then the all likelihood that you succeed is much greater. So it starts with families. And that's why I just us starting with this discussion, just so women who are listening could get a man's perspective, men who are listening could get a woman's perspective, because it starts not just for black people, but for everyone, really. It starts with you building a family, being together, even if you're going to say, listen, we don't want the traditional marriage, we don't believe in the paperwork. Okay, cool. But can you co-parent? Can you get along with somebody? Can you be together with somebody? Can you take them on their good days? Can you take them on their bad days? Can you know what I'm saying? Coexist with another human being for the betterment of both of you, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you have
Absolutely.
a support system, and your children will have a great support system.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole point of it, right? Because it starts with families, strength in numbers. Period.
Mm.
Period. So that's where
Facts.
I hold myself accountable, right? I try to put some good out into the world, and I don't want to approach people in the way that they can't listen. I want for people to listen to me, and I'm willing to listen to people, right? We can exchange ideas and understand each other's perspectives. That's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? So that's the main reason why I would get you here today, because I knew you would be able to have intelligent dialogue with me, and we would both know a little bit more about what each other
Mhm.
expect today when it's all said and done. So,
Right.
if anyone has a particular question that I'm going to open up the phone lines in a second. I'm going to put the phone lines on the chat real quick. There you go. The call numbers. You got a scrolling ticker on the bottom there for you. It's 609 666 2995. If you want to call up, go ahead. We will take calls. We will answer questions. Not to say I'm trying to get out of here real quick, but I'm going to open it. This could take a while. But if anybody is compelled to
Yeah.
call, go right ahead and call in. We're ready for you. We'd love to hear answer any questions. If you got a tough question for me, that's fine. You got a tough question for Goddess Masterpiece right here, go ahead and ask. We're ready for it. But
Right.
oh yeah, we went right up. We went right past those whole noodles, man. Pause. Sorry. Pause. 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 Pause.
Yeah, I got
Pause.
time, cuz.
I'm trying not to skip anything.
Oh. Okay, so
I'm only asking because you said it's important, man.
yeah,
You
I
said it's
mean,
important.
I dated somebody out there, and it's, my thing was
She
this.
blushed too.
I went out there to heal. I went out there for healing.
Yeah,
I went out there because of the breakup I had with my children's father, and it was just a lot, and I
it was
needed
nasty. Okay.
to escape.
Was that a long
Right,
time
so
ago or recently?
that
Was
was
that a
last
long time
year.
ago? Okay. Okay. Got you. Okay.
That was last year that I got my place in Houston. So
Okay.
I needed that. I just needed it. It was necessary. But like I said, it's just a different breed of man out there. So
Okay.
that's what I really got to see. Just overall, again, sex isn't everything. That's what I said. It's not 100% to me.
No. No.
It's
No.
not
Absolutely not.
everything, but it
But you
does
consider it important.
matter.
You said a little more than 50%, so
Like for
that's
instance,
pretty substantial.
that doesn't mean like right. Like for instance, if there's somebody that I fell in love with and maybe the sex wasn't as great, you encourage that person. You take the time to give them tips, or especially when you get older. See, me as a younger woman, I probably couldn't have done that, but me as a little older woman is like, I know what I like, I know what I want. I'm not going to hold that back.
Got it.
Because for what? So that's why when they say women hit a wall, it's like, what? Everybody knows women reach their peak in their late 30s, 40s. That's when you
No, I'm
reach your
digging.
peak. That's what happened.
No, I got it. I hear you.
What you say?
No, I said I hear you.
Again, men don't want to admit that because they always try to put us down. And so that's the only reason I counteract it with men can hit the wall too. So don't talk about women's age and
Okay.
market, which I said sexual market value, because we both have a sexual market value.
Absolutely, men and women.
Penises get limp and vaginas get dry. Okay?
Do you
As
think
long as
that
we all on the same page and we know what we have to work on. That's all.
okay.
Cheers.
So that I understand the importance of it. We got a caller. All right, take it to the streets TV, shoot the fat with Smoove. What's happening? What we got on the line?
How you doing? This is your boy A1T from Relationship Talks. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening, man? Can you hear that okay?
I,
Can you hear that
uh,
Yeah,
okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. What you got? Hey, one G's, go ahead.
I got a, so with everything that the both of you said tonight, in your perspective, from a woman's perspective, 'cause I'm really liking what I'm hearing, by the way.
Okay,
From
appreciate you.
so from your perspective, so from your perspective, what is it going
Mm-hmm.
to take, as a woman? What is it going to take for men and women alike to finally, um, settle settle down with each other and learn how to stay and fight through it without pointing the finger. What is it going to finally take from a woman's perspective? What is it going to take
From a
for
woman's
men and women
perspective.
alike to settle
Mm-hmm.
down with each other and actually learn each other, stay in class with each other, and learn how
Mm-hmm.
to stay and make it work? What is it going to take?
That's a great question. I love that question. And for me, again, I've never been married. And so that's, to me, I feel a little ashamed of that, but then also I have a story to tell. Um, my perspective on that is communication is so important. Honesty is so important. People overlook those small things. Like, it's so easy to tell little white lies. It's so easy to not live in your truth. I believe when you are honest about what you want, like I said, whether it's sexually, whether it's I need more time. I believe in doing certain activities to get to know each other first and foremost. It's an activity actually my children's father told me about, which is the 5 love languages. How to figure out what your love language is with someone that you're in a relationship with or you're building with. So you know what they expect from love. It's just a small tool. It's not something major, but it's a tool that you can use so you can identify what is it that this person may look for in regards to how they respond to love or how they identify love,
That's a
because you may want
consideration.
quality time. Right, that's the consideration. You may like quality time, but that person may want gifts. And if
Mm,
you love that person, are you willing to compromise those things because they like it, not because you like it, because that's something they like. So it's, to me, it's about communication, compromise. You know, trust is also a thing. Being honest about what you want. If you don't want to be committed, say that. If you do want to be committed, say that. It's so much dishonesty amongst people. I think that's one of the biggest breakdowns. And then finances is another thing. Being honest about finances. I feel like finances is, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if you're not in a committed relationship. It plays a role in dating.
it does.
Because if a man isn't financially capable of taking a woman on a date, he can't even connect to her. Because most women want to be taken out, right? Let's just be honest. Most women that feel like they're about something, if you're not taking me out, then, and I feel like ladies,
Wh-
we need to
Could
have
I
more, we need
could I
to
ask you something
compromise
about that?
more too on that.
Could I ask you something about
Yes.
that? Let's say a guy ain't got it
Yes.
like that yet. He's just aspiring to be something in his life, but he ain't there yet. What do you feel about picnics
Mm,
or trips to the museum or things that don't
I
cost
love
nearly
it.
as much? Okay, so he don't
I
have.
love
So
that.
so then we could kind of um, do that without the finances per
It
se. At least
doesn't
that
take
part.
much. Have imagination. You could
Got it.
say, meet me at Starbucks for coffee
Okay.
for an hour of your time. Let's take a stroll through the park. Doesn't cost anything.
Got it.
You know what I
And
mean?
you're
But
good
some
with that.
men,
Do you think that
I am.
do you think the majority of women are good
I
with
could
that?
be in love with you and still would want those free things. Things those creative things that don't cost money sometimes are the best experiences.
Got it. Would you say that most women are like that? That they would accept those type of dates, or do you think that a lot of women these days are like, oh hell no, he ain't got no money. No, I'm trying to go to a 5 star. You know what I mean? I want some
And
steak and
that's the
shrimp.
thing. And that's the thing. No, not every woman. That's why I talked about the five love languages, because some women do feel loved by getting expensive gifts, getting flowers all the time. Some
Yeah,
women feel like that's what love is. Me, when I did the quiz several times, every time I do it, every now and then, my top is physical touch.
got it.
That makes me feel little.
That's
I
a
don't know what that means, but I respond to love in a sense of closeness and intimacy. That's what that means. You know what I mean? Not necessarily being
that's
intimate, but just, you know, loving, touching thing, physical touch, whatever that means. But it's a good tool to use when you're getting to know somebody. And even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't hurt to still do the quiz. You can Google it. It's just questions that you answer. Would you prefer quality time or would you prefer acts of service? It's just they ask you questions so you get to know, that person. So
I
communication.
I I want I want to share something with you, guys. I want to share something personal. Um,
Okay.
I myself am just getting back into the swing of a relationship, right? I spent 4 years single, okay, to get to
Okay.
hit the reset button and relearn myself. And you know what the problem was? The problem was
What's the problem?
that I was so quick to jump into a relationship, okay, that I thought I was ready when in actuality it was a thing of me not wanting to be alone. And that's the problem
Mm,
that a lot of men and women alike have. They don't know what it's like to be
mm,
alone. If you don't give time to yourself to identify yourself, how can you identify what love
mm,
is? And how can you identify what that other person is? So really, you want to be with them, but in actuality, it's
mm,
it's actually a selfless act, and
mm,
it's a selfish act, and it's like you're only thinking about what you want when in actuality you don't even know what you want because you haven't taken the time to put yourself on punishment and go back to your room and think about what you did.
mm.
So now your parents
That's a
when they
good
find
one.
out you sneak out to go to that party, and now you just did double. You bring damage to the party. Now you just did double damage.
Mm,
Now you're break. Now what happens when you're at a party? You're amongst other people. They're in their peace. You was on punishment. You came to their party. You're damaged goods. You come there. Now you're breaking home because you're coming out as toxicity. Until people
mm,
learn what it's like to take a second to be by themselves and hit the reset
mm,
button, they'll never know what it's like to love somebody because they can't
mm.
take a second to be by themselves to learn how to love themselves.
Perfect.
That was good. Yes,
That was a
I,
good one,
I
bro.
agree.
Hey, bro.
I agree.
We definitely appreciate you calling in, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
that
you,
All
was
right,
dude.
man.
good.
All right,
All
cool,
right, have a good
cool.
one.
Yes,
All right, later on.
I definitely
Anybody
agree
else?
with
Anybody
that.
else have any questions? Feel free to call in. That was a very good one. We both agree. A lot of times people don't take the time to separate and get yourself right, and that's what I'm talking about: self development, and just learning yourself.
Mhm.
And sometimes you gotta
Yep,
sit down. Just sit down,
yep.
and then come back later
Just
on
sit
when you
down.
write. When you write, go ahead
There
and
you
do it.
go. That's what
Anybody
I'm going
jumping
through
in?
right now.
Anybody jumping in?
Okay.
Like, share, subscribe. Yeah. So, um, what do you feel like? are some of the most common failures in a relationship? Or you could even explain your own. What do you think made it fail? If you had a failed relationship, what do you think it was that did it?
Well, I'm gonna go by my last relationship because that's the
Cool.
most prevalent to me. We have children. We have two children together.
Okay.
Um, what I feel, what I felt then, and what I feel now is different. Um, I've been blaming him for a lot of it, um, and not seeing my part in it, right? But I've been getting epiphanies lately that I played a major role in it, and I hurt him. And I was so, it was like two people that are hurt, but nobody is conceding to it. Nobody is really understanding that both parties are hurt. So, um, and then it becomes tit for tat. Who did this? Who did that? Where I went wrong in the situation is giving too much. All right. I know that sounds so. Where you said be a man's piece, right? So I feel like I was his piece. I feel like I was his best friend. I feel like I was his confidant. I was everything to this man in the beginning of the relationship. Um, but I think when you don't feel the reciprocation, it starts to become like, okay, am I a fool for giving this much? So that's the thing. We as women have to learn that if we're not in a committed relationship as far as almost a marriage or a marriage,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that we should not do as girlfriends.
Well, this is what
It's
I'm going
just
to tell
certain
you.
things that.
This is what I'm
Mhm,
going to say about that portion of it, right? Um,
mhm,
I don't. I wouldn't put it on what the status of your relationship is, but what I will put this on is human behavior in general, right? Not woman's nature, not male's nature. This is just
mhm.
human nature. People
Right.
generally don't respect things that are not earned. People don't respect things that are not earned. So if you find
Mhm,
yourself putting forth a lot of effort and it's not reciprocated, and
mhm,
you continue to put forth that type of effort,
mhm,
expect failure because it's not earned. It has to be reciprocated. If it's not, then they take advantage. They take it for granted. That's human behavior. And they don't just behave like that in relationships and anything else. You know what I mean? You probably got
mhm.
friends that you gave a lot to and all of that. And you thought that the one day when you needed it, they would reciprocate. And it didn't happen. I'm sure that's happened to you. That's happened to probably everybody watching this right now. Right?
Mhm.
So that's one of the main things you do have to understand. You have to apply those same principles to a relationship. Humans don't respect things that are not earned. So if they earn this type of things and they're loving you the way that they're supposed to, then damn straight do everything. And it's not tit for tat where you have to be precise, but you have to understand effort, right? So if a person is giving 100% effort into you, whatever that may mean, then you
Mhm.
should reciprocate that and give 100% back. And nobody's going to be
Absolutely.
measuring at that point. You know what I'm saying? But they have to earn it. You can't
Absolutely.
just do it one sided. It'll never work that way because that person won't
It'll
appreciate it
never work.
and you won't appreciate them not appreciating it. So that's just
And
that's how it is.
especially as a woman, you cannot give to a man that hasn't earned it.
Got it.
This is why I say, when I going back to a woman being the table, we are the table whether we have money or not. See, that's the part that men don't get when I say that. Because I can tell you when I've given financially to my children's father. I'm not gonna say he never did for me, but I'm saying I recall times where I felt like I was giving a little too much, right? And it wasn't earned. And
Got it.
I felt a little used because it wasn't reciprocated when I needed it. All right. This is the thing. I have value whether I gave him money or not.
Absolutely.
Do
And
you gotta understand what I'm saying?
well,
Like a woman has
this this
value
this is what I'm gonna say.
whether she.
Men don't value money nearly as much as women think. It's just wired in us not to be honest. And I understand that women are making more now. They are career women. They are doing a thing, and I commend them for it. But when it comes to the sexual marketplace value, it doesn't mean as much as women would like it to. That's just the facts, right? It's not valued the way that it probably should be. When men are seeking women, they don't value that much unless they are not a man with a purpose. If they're not getting money, yeah, sure, that'll be very attractive to them. But that's not the type of person a woman will want in the first place. Do you want somebody to mooch off you? Do you want somebody who's just a dependent? No, you don't want another child. So, would you even be attracted to a dude who would appreciate you for your money? Now, your contributions in today's society in 2022, in many cases, are necessary. So, it has to be respected and commended if you are providing and putting yourself into a masculine role because the particular man you're dealing with, it's not that easy for him to do, which most of us can't. The average man in America makes anywhere from 40 to 50,000, depending on, a few factors, right? And that's not it. That's not enough. That's not enough. It costs $500,000 to raise a child to an adult. So per child to do everything that you're supposed to without any assistance or anything, that's what it costs. So, and when you think about that, if you divide that into say 20 years, look at how much it's going to cost you. You know what I'm saying? Versus your electric bill versus your, you got mortgage, you got everything else. When you incorporate children and you're trying to do it alone, it ain't no joke. And that's why now, before you just needed a dual parent household for parenting. Now you need a dual parent household to survive. So with that element changing as dramatically as it did, it shifted the responsibilities and pretty much destroyed the nuclear family, in my opinion. Because now our natural roles, or at least, or well, let's say traditional, let's not say natural, but I personally do feel it's our natural roles. But let's just say traditional. Our traditional roles have been changed. More is expected of the woman, and much is expected of a man now
Say it
too.
again. Wait.
Go
Say
ahead.
that again for the people in the back. More is expected of the woman.
Yes, more is expected of the woman. Yes, that's understood. More is expected of the woman, right? I know some instances. I know
Okay.
some females who get busy. I know some females who will work, come back, cook it up, make sure the kids is good, take them to school. And this is what single mothers are forced to do. You know what I'm saying? They have to do everything, prepare for everyone, right? And
Okay.
I know some situations where women are doing this and they're with a man, right? Um, so it's very tough to balance these roles out.
Meaning, hold on,
Go ahead.
a woman who's doing all these things, but they still have a man that's not really
Well, it could
stepping
be in
up.
any situation. Sometimes, yeah. Me personally, I think a man should
Yeah.
step up. Um, shoot, I do. Listen, I do 3 jobs. I do my 9 to 5. I do something else, and I'm doing this. So ain't nobody gonna outwork me. So whatever my wife is doing is appreciated, but she's not gonna feel bad because don't nobody outwork me. You know what I mean? And it's not just in the home, anywhere, anything that I'm a part of. Don't nobody outwork me. There might be people who are working with me, going hard, but ain't nobody gonna outwork me. Nobody's ever gonna feel like I'm not contributing my part. That's just how I'm wired as a human being. So of course I did apply these same principles to a relationship, and that's another thing that people have to understand is how people are wired and how they just handle their normal situations is how they're going to handle life. So if a person has a bad credit score, you have to say, all right, so they're not that responsible, right? If a person doesn't keep a job, right, and they're losing it for frivolous reasons, they're not that responsible. If a person doesn't treat their friends around there properly, They're not that responsible with friendships. So at some point, we have to look at how this person is operating in their everyday functions, their everyday life, and realize that people who are serious for the most part, and people who are not are not. You have to pay attention to how it's almost like how you see, when one of the people walk from the table, this person talking about them, when you get up, they're going to do the same thing, talk about you, right? It's just understanding how people are wired. This is what they do. If this is how they treat their relationships with their friends, this is how they treat the workplace, they're probably not going to be responsible with the relationship also because they're just not thorough. You know what I mean? So we have to take these things into consideration. Um, when men are looking for certain females, they have to understand if a person is considerate, if a person goes above and beyond, if they're just wired like that, period. Because if they're not like that, they're not going to be like that for you. A woman would have to realize when they're looking at a Pookie or Ray Ray that this ain't it. If he's not holding down a job, if he's not being responsible, and he's not worried about the future, he's not worried about the future with you either. You know what I'm saying? And these guys don't deserve the time of day, but they're going to continue to get it because that's what young women are attracted to. They want that badass, right? That's what they want. And it's not going to do them any good. Sometimes it's going to leave them with children that have a deadbeat dad. And then now, someone else would have to pick up the pieces and they may not want to. So it's just a mess, man. And vice versa. This same thing could happen with women as well. Hold on, I got a couple comments here. I want to jump into them. Good evening. I'm wired the same. I work hard for my family. Appreciate you guys some for joining. If you haven't liked, subscribed, and shared this, please do. But I'm not perfect, and we're not perfect, and we don't expect perfection. What we do expect is effort, right? And that's the least you can do. When you get with a person, you have to pay attention to the signs early. The main thing I'm going to tell you what I tell people that get into relationships, and it may sound a little unorthodox. I tell them they have to be selfish. And what I mean by that is come in as yourself. Do not do things that you don't normally do. If you are a slob by nature, go ahead and be a slob. Don't clean up your house because company coming. Just do that. They need to know you and love you as you are. If you don't spend money on dates and you're more into the romantic stuff, don't take it to a 5-star because you're gonna continue to expect 5-star. Don't try because then you're gonna end up switching up on them. You know what I'm saying? Consistency. You need to come in as you are. And if that person loves you for you, that means you can be yourself around them and you don't have to put forth any effort, and that 6-month to 2-year honeymoon won't be over because it's very easy and fulfilling to be yourself. But when you start trying to perpetrate and try to impress people is when you're going to get into the most trouble, in my opinion. What you got on that?
I mean, that's true. Like I said, I'm about honesty. I'm about truth. So I'm not gonna say you gotta be 100% honest because you can't really be 100% honest when you're first getting to know someone. It leaks out little by little. But to lie, to have to portray something else, like I just don't believe in that. Having to juggle multiple people and lie, like I'm just not a good liar. So
Oh, we got. Ooh, I
I
got a
just
good
believe in
about that
telling
too.
the truth. Like,
Point
this
two.
is what it is. Especially who I am now. It's gonna be really hard when I really start putting myself out there to date again because I'm too honest. And men can't really
Okay.
handle that.
No such thing. Men can handle that.
No,
When you say what secret you got?
you said what?
I said what secret you got? What can't they handle? What is it that you think a man can't handle? And I encourage the men in this chat to see if they can handle that. No cap though. No cap though.
For instance, there's a lot of contradictions with men. For instance, a man could tell you things about yourself that he doesn't like. He could say, "Oh, I don't like how you chew. You chew with your mouth open," or "I don't like the fact that you wear so much makeup," or I'm just thinking of
Oh
random
yeah,
things
no,
that a
dudes do
man would
that
say.
because they try to make, and that's the whole thing. That's why I say when you're choosing a mate, find somebody like that because it's not. You don't want to make a person be someone else that they're not.
Be
Because they're gonna feel
something
like they're being
else.
imprisoned. They're not gonna be happy with you. They're gonna resent you for it. You can't change a person.
Boom. Boom. So guys will have no problem saying what they don't like on a woman. No problems. However, when it's time for us to speak our truth and say what we don't like, it's a whole different story. Men these days cannot handle a woman making them feel less than, telling them anything that makes them feel like, like they're like the woman is in control in any type of way. They just don't want to hear it. If a woman says, I don't really like that outfit you have on, I don't like it.
I'll keep a G with you.
You know,
I'll keep a G with you. Somebody listen. You know what? That has happened to me. And you know what? I'm one of them dudes. I'll be like, "Fuck you talking about?" Oh, sorry, excuse me, but yeah, like that's just how that's how I'm coming. Like what you talk. Like listen, what you talking about? That's not. No, I know
see?
how to dress. What are you talking about? Like I'm fly. I ain't gonna let nobody tell me I'm
But
one of
you
them.
could
I
tell
do that.
your woman, oh babe, I don't like that dress, and she's supposed to be
No,
able to handle that.
here's what it is. Here's what it is. I don't. It is what it is. Listen, listen. How you come out, however you do, I watch you and I see how you gonna dress. If you're putting too much on, too little on, you know what I'm saying. I want to know. I see what it is. If you wear a lot of makeup and that's how I select. If you don't fit that off the rip, then it ain't gonna be no problem. Now, if you start switching up and trying to turn into something else, and you wasn't wearing no skimpy clothing before, and then all of a sudden you think it's a green light, yeah, we're gonna have an issue because that's not how I met you. Do you think that's fair? If that's how you are, cool. But if you're changing into something, do you think that that's fair?
Oh, I'm not gonna say is if it's not okay. It's fair or not fair. This is the thing that you gotta understand too. A woman does feel like she has to transform at times because she knows that her man is gonna look at other women that look attractive. You're gonna turn your head. You may be a faithful man. You may say, I would never cheat on my wife, but you're gonna look. You're still a man.
You have to look.
If you
Women look
see,
too. Women look too.
if you
We
see,
both gonna
look,
look.
your wife may be the total opposite of what you're looking at. She may be the total opposite, a different hair color, a different body type, a different way she dresses. And then if you was to ever do that in front of your wife to where she saw it, some women
Oh no
won't
no 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 no
won't
no
say
no no.
anything.
That's different. That's disrespect. That's disrespect. When you are in the presence
So
of your
you've
man or woman,
never broke your head in front of your
no,
wife.
never,
You never.
no, no, no. And if you in the chat, why
So
you
you one of
you
those
tell
guys if you avoid other women like the plague.
when I'm with her,
If you
yes,
with your wife
because
and you
it's
see
a
other
respect thing,
women,
and it's not to say that I don't look at other women, and I wouldn't care if she looks at other men. That she not gonna talk to him. You know what I mean? But she like, oh, you
right,
handsome or whatever. You watch TV, you looking at a man. You watching the sex scene or whatever.
right,
You
like
looking at another man or woman.
right,
That's natural. But it's about
right.
boundaries. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna try to initiate contact? Are you gonna DM somebody? Are you gonna give them your phone number? You know what I mean? That's not acceptable. Are you gonna do things that are
Right.
inviting? Are you gonna wear clothes that hug you up a little bit too much in the waist? You know what I'm saying? Or are you gonna do that? It's just about respecting boundaries. And I don't expect my wife to behave like that, and she doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it is. But as far as looks, you can't really be offended by that. We're all human. Like you're gonna look at something. It's about now you're not gonna be out there with me, and I don't even expect you to give somebody the eye, like to where you inviting them either. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't behave like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Okay,
respect thing.
so I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Does your wife ever dress provocatively outside? Is she allowed to?
Well, there's no. I mean, I don't even listen. She's a mother. I don't expect her to do certain things. There are limits. You can be sexy and still classy. You know what I'm saying? Is she gonna wear some joints with a big old wedgie in it? Nah, not happening. She Does she wear a nice dress or something, a sundress or something that complements the figure if she wants to? Cool. But is it gonna? Are you gonna have Daisy Dukes on? Not expected. Not expected.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? There's
okay.
taste. There's taste involved. It's not about. She's not gonna have to throw on, a hijab or nothing like that. But she gonna have to. Um, just act like a grown woman, but she already does that. I didn't make her do that. You know what I'm saying? She already dresses a certain way. She already where it could be sexy but classy. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. You expect men to look because they're gonna look at you no matter what. But then there's a difference between if somebody's inviting, like, because when I see she might have just a business suit on, or just a random woman, right? Might have a business suit on. She gonna look fresh, and I like, ooh, right? But you're not gonna approach. But at the same time, if she had on the Daisy Dukes and her top is hanging out and everything else, then that's inviting. A dude is gonna press up, and they're gonna be probably disrespectful about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's there are clothes that I would consider inviting.
She belongs to the streets.
You know what I'm saying? And it's unacceptable. But at the same time, I conduct myself with respect. I behave in a certain manner also. It's just what's expected. There's not no iron fist going on over here. But, when you're married, it's certain things that you are expecting your other to do. It's all about respect. Now, I did want to ask you something, unless you had something about that you wanted to discuss, but I have a question I did want to know
Oh no, you
about.
can ask.
Okay. Now we were talking about consistency, and you were talking about the noodles and how important it is, and we were talking about change. So I want to bring it all together. As far as women are
Okay.
concerned, right? A big gripe that a lot of men have, particularly once they get married, and we do understand that there are different duties, especially once you have children and you have hormonal changes and everything else. But there's always the other side to that. Um, when you come in a relationship, right, and you up here smashing like you some rabbits, and you might be 10 to 12 times a week, right? Do you feel like it's a woman's duty, or should she be at least compelled to keep up with that particular pace because that's what she came into the relationship with? And if anybody wants to call in,
Absolutely.
that number's at the bottom. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You said
First of
absolutely?
all, I ain't never had no situation with no 12 times a week. So shouts out to the people who ever had that.
I mean,
That's crazy.
sometimes that
But
sexual energy is different, but
yeah, like whoa, okay. So shouts out to y'all. But I would say
smart guy
no.
wears shades. I got to give him a hold for the God's son said, I know he broke my head. A smart guy wears shades. I had to give him one for that. Go ahead.
Right.
And
But I would say
shout
no.
out to you, Miss
You
AK.
can't expect sex to stay at an even keel as the relationship progresses. Things happen. Look, what
Well, let's bring.
happened in the beginning is not happening
All
throughout the
right, all right, all
relationship.
right, all right. Well,
Maybe
we're gonna make this a little more specific. Let's say you're coming
okay.
in at. Let's. What do you think is reasonable? First of all, what do you think is reasonable? How many times a week would you say is reasonable?
At the start of a relationship, because like we said, things
Okay, we can
change.
start with the start of the relationship. What do you think is reasonable?
Reasonable is about out of 7 days.
Oh.
I would say 4 to 5 times a week.
4 to 5 times a week. Shit.
Yeah.
Very reasonable. Now, let me
That's
tell
not
you,
reasonable.
that is, I said very reasonable. Very reasonable,
Okay.
right? Most guys would
Okay.
probably kill for that. For real, for real. Now,
Okay.
here's the next question.
Okay.
Into the relationship, right?
Hmm.
Into the relationship.
Okay.
What do you think is reasonable? 6 months in, a year, 2 years.
It should be the same. It should increase,
Mm.
but we know that doesn't happen.
Yes, 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 yes. Do you think that
No.
women should consider this their duty, or should it just be, conditional, or I don't know? What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Hmm. I feel like should it be a woman's duty? Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie, and I've never been married,
Woo.
but I feel
Today
like
I got time, cuz.
if I had a husband, I would feel like I would be obligated to, you
Okay.
know, make
Now,
time for that. Yeah.
let me tell you that word you used, obligated.
Ugh.
Does that mean it feels more like a chore, um, or is
It
it?
shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
It
Yeah, yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
feel like a chore, but when you're grown and everybody's working, multiple streams of income and kids, it unfortunately kind of becomes a chore because you gotta slide it in. Like you gotta like plan for it when you have all these other factors.
Got it. So
So
go ahead.
yeah. No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, I was gonna say. So what should we say we should be going for then? You know what I'm saying? Because all right, we're starting out with that. I want to read this one comment. Here's the thing. Some need to work on men as women. We got to stop generalizing. Not all men are a certain way. Not all women are a certain way. Gotcha. So with that, right? What I want to know is, we doing that. So are we still going to end up at that 5 times a week? Are we going to go to 4? Are we going to end up at 3? Because you said we're grown. We have responsibilities, obligations, blah, 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 everything, whatever, whatever. Are we still going to be able to get
Right.
that off? That's the question. Can we still get our rocks off? And if so, how many times a week is it going to end up once all these obligations, and now you got kids, you don't have as much time, you're tired, you're drained. What's it going to turn into?
Well, again, it does become, I wouldn't even say a chore, but a job because you have to put effort into it. It's work. You have to study for it sometimes. It's not just going to come easy, especially when you're used to someone. It could get boring, right? Because it's the same routine. So to
Okay.
me, both men and women have to include romance. Women sometimes leave it up to men to romance, and that's the problem too.
Whoa, whoa,
Women,
whoa, 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 whoa.
Combo breaker.
Did you say that women have to lead into romance?
I said women should also
Yeah,
romance
yeah, yeah,
their men.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We know you said the
Yes.
men part, but okay. What are some of the things that women would do to lead into romance? Let the women know, because I haven't heard anyone ever say that before. Carry on.
Really?
Go ahead, carry on.
That's the
Carry on.
masculine energy in me, I guess. I don't know, but
That might be feminine energy, but carry on.
okay, well, you can run the bath for a man.
Ooh.
That's for one.
Today I got
Give a
time,
man a
cuz.
pedicure. Give a man a pedicure.
How
Give
about
him a
that?
massage, like you said.
Woo! Wait a
Um,
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Keep going. Keep going.
I mean, it's plenty of things for self
No,
care
wait,
that
wait,
you
wait,
can
wait,
do.
wait.
Not
Have
self care, but care for someone else.
have you
Um,
personally done some of these things for your men?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
out of a month, how many times would you give him a pedicure or um, run his bath water and stuff like that?
All
Would
right,
you
now I'm
have?
not gonna sit and say I'm just gonna be doing your pedicures every time. I'm
No,
saying
no, no.
that's
But I'm just
a
saying.
romance tactic.
So
That's a
how
tactic.
many
So
times a
maybe
year would
once
this
a
happen?
month.
Once you would do it once a
Once
month.
a month.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
do it once a month for
Okay.
someone I'm in a relationship with.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Massages, I would say a
Like
couple of
full body
times a week.
massages? A couple times a
Full
week?
body.
You would do
Yes.
full body massages several times a week.
Yes. If I'm in a relationship, I'm not talking about
Finish
just dating
him.
somebody random.
Wait a minute. No, listen. Listen, listen, and listen. Listen, listen,
Who is
listen.
your daddy and what does he do?
Listen. I understand what
Honestly,
you're saying.
as I'm getting older, I'm not saying I was always that person. As
Okay.
I'm getting older, the I'm starting to realize that is a part of peace, right? That is a
Got it.
part of, or that's my idea of peace. But then you gave me your version as a man of peace. But those are things that I would include. Of
Well, yeah,
course,
no, no. I
cooking
would
a home cooked
listen,
meal.
listen. Let me tell you this.
Uh,
I would absolutely say the things that you're talking about right now would be part of that peace and oasis, right? These are things that
mhm.
they fit right in there. So don't get it twisted. The things that I mentioned wasn't everything. Those are very intricate parts as well. So that would
Mhm.
be greatly appreciated by a man. And what I'm going to say is,
Mhm.
I don't want to get derailed because I don't want to leave this topic, right? But
Mhm.
these are things that women should practice into going into a relationship. Once you're comfortable with that person, once you have that trust and you feel like this is somebody you going to be with, this is something you should do off the rip, because that will motivate a man to keep you, because he probably has not experienced much of that before. Majority of women don't do these things, and then sometimes they say they
The
do,
lie
but
detector test determined that was a lie.
they don't, right? So sometimes it just doesn't happen. And I'm going to tell you, I talk to many men, and
Mhm.
it's not a common thing. It's not a common thing for
Wow.
men to be catered to. It's a selfless act, right? And that's part
Right.
of that consideration. So if these are the things
Mm.
that you plan on practicing, you're probably going to be back on that horse when you're ready to. No pun intended. But
But
that's
yeah, I mean, like I said, but I want it reciprocated too. So again,
absolutely.
it has
And
to be
but
the
again,
right person.
it has to go back to what I said. It has to be earned. It has to be earned.
Absolutely. There you
So
go. That's the key
understood,
word,
but
earn.
you're gonna know. You're gonna know who to do it for and to, and who not to. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So going and when you're in your marriage, there's certain things that are expected of men and women. A man is still expected to be romantic to a certain extent. Women are expected to now. I'm hearing that women are expected to be romantic. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, and I hear you, and appreciate it. But that's important, and it's also as important to know who not to give that energy to. You know what I'm saying? It has to be reciprocated.
Right.
But go ahead.
No,
And
that was it. I was just I'm sorry to cut you off. No,
no,
I
no.
was just saying that it has to go both ways. A lot of times women grow up thinking that we're gonna get this knight in shining armor. Well,
Yes.
that doesn't really exist in the same I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist in the manner in which we think it does. And we have to kind of bring that out of a man sometimes by our actions. And it doesn't take a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
money. It doesn't take a lot of money, just like for a man. If it's the beginning stages, I appreciate a man that's like, I'm not really trying to spend that much money because I'm trying to get to know you. That's fine, but you're still putting in an effort to do something to get to know me. So it's noticed, you know? So I just think we could both do a better job at because we're not in the era of submission, complete and utter submission. We're not
That
because
was a
women
question.
come.
That was a soul question. I got that.
That's the next question.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into that.
Oh no, let's get into
The
that.
complete, the complete and utter submission is over, and I want to hear your point of view of that.
You said it's over. When you said complete and utter
It's
submission, so
over.
what does the word submit mean to you? And submitting to a man, is it a dirty word? Is it something that you feel like that you could never do? Um, and first of all, what does it mean to submit, in your opinion? And the phone lines are open, people. Please do like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, you want to pose a question to me as a man or Goddess Masterpiece as a woman, go ahead and call up that number, 609 666 2995. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Carry on.
So I mean, some people like to use the word. I think the word is very strong and wrong.
Okay.
It just makes me feel cringe.
Okay.
I'd rather a word like what's the word? Like you say, consideration or learning how to what's another word like bend to other people, not but submission is like sounds a little slavery-ish, like it sounds like I'm a slave and you're a slave master. I don't
Okay.
take well to that.
And I
Maybe it's
think
how I
I
was
think it has
raised.
I think it has a really hard connotation because the people who have presented it, right? It was also presented in the Bible, no? So, I
It
mean,
was, and it does say men, I mean husbands and wives submit to each other, but that's
okay,
not really what happens. That's
okay.
not.
Now let me ask. I'm going to tell you, it's not submitting it as far as he is your master. It's just about it, but he is, in a sense, um, you know, the leader. Do you feel like
Okay.
if there's a man who shows good leadership qualities to where you can kind of fall back and depend on him, not solely depend on him, but you know he got us. You know what I'm saying? If you can feel comfortable, you feel safe. Um, that's what I get from submission. Not I run you, I consult with you, we talk about it, but I make the final decision. Do you feel like you could live
Mm.
with that?
it's interesting that you said that. So I just want to go back over when you said, "Do you feel comfortable letting a man lead?" You said
Uh-huh.
something to that degree,
Yes.
and and that just hit me like a ton of bricks because I think that has been my problem. I think by how I was raised and what I've
Mm.
seen, I think I
We get into it. We get
we got
into
a
it.
breakthrough. We got a breakthrough.
We get into it.
I think I personally, I'm
Go ahead.
admitting this to you guys. I think I have a problem with letting a man lead.
Got it.
And it's not because I don't trust that a man can lead me. I think that I watched my mother being a strong woman, being a single mother, being independent. She really didn't need a man for much. So that kind of tainted me, to be honest. Because I think I could have been a little more submissive. But seeing that, I'm like,
You didn't have the proper example, right?
boom.
For
They,
that particular
I didn't.
situation, right?
Correct. I didn't get to see a man
You didn't see
leading
a man's
a
leadership. You
woman.
didn't have that male example, right? You were taught that you didn't need men's, and as it is, you probably had to be in a masculine role for a very good portion of your life. So it would be
Absolutely.
hard for you to feel safe in a situation
Hmm.
where you can deal with the man and let him lead. Understood. Now, what I will tell you is that type of cooperation. But like I said, the Pookies and Ray Rays don't get this. It has to be a man who has proven to be responsible, a man who's proven who to be loyal, to have integrity, right, and make good decisions that you can trust in. Now, if you
Okay.
have all of this, um,
Hmm.
I don't really see the problem in submitting to him if he's earned it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and many women do cringe when they hear it, and I understand why. It's because they haven't seen many good examples of good men who display good leadership qualities. But I'm here to tell you, if you
Hmm.
understand this strategic placement, you have to put yourself in the places where those types of men are, right? You won't meet these men at the bars. You won't meet these men in the club, right? You meet these men
I know.
maybe at a networking event, right?
Mm.
Positive things. It has to be somewhere
I
that's not so much fun. Sometimes libraries, Barnes and Nobles, you might find somebody who's about something, who's about their craft, who's trying to get somewhere. Sometimes in college, you know what I'm saying? People, you have to find it in places where men are trying to better themselves, the community, and the people around them. These are the type of men that you have to look for. Sometimes they're boring. Sometimes they're socially awkward, right? And that's things that can be worked on, things that you get past. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they got swag. Sometimes they are cool as hell. But some of these dudes, I promise you, like JC said earlier, some of these dudes are who are a little bit more socially awkward. Sometimes they blossom into something else. Me, I was a late bloomer. I am not what I was 10 years ago, and 10 years before that, completely different. People do turn into something great later on sometimes in life. Do you have the patience for it? Do you have the discernment for it? Are you willing to take a chance with somebody who's moving in the right direction versus trying to meet a man at the finish line? Because the men who are at the finish line, they are looking for different things. You know what I'm saying? They worked hard to get where they are, and some of them are not as willing to. They're not going to have the personalities that you would appreciate. They won't have the attributes that you would appreciate. They will have the resources that you can appreciate, but
right.
sometimes not much else. You know what I'm saying? When you get to a point where you have that much resources, sometimes you just expect your money to make people do everything for you, and you don't put forth effort in anything, and you think that your money can
Is
compensate for
the
any of your shortcomings.
but
So
that's I think that's my issue. Sorry to cut you off with
go ahead.
men that I've encountered that may have been the leader, but I couldn't see past certain things. Like I guess I'm too critical of men. I don't know why that is. Maybe because they're critical of me, but I'm very critical in the sense of I don't think I ever, that was a breakthrough. I don't think I ever looked at a man as someone to lead me. I looked at a man as someone to be a partner with. I never looked for a leader in a man, like someone to rule over me. I'm looking at somebody as an equal, someone we can meet meet in the middle. You understand? So leader is a strong word because it's like sometimes you can be a leader to lead someone into the abyss. Are you leading me in the right place? So yes, you can, like you said, leave the Pookies and Ray Rays alone, but there's so many of them.
Um,
There's so many of them.
there are so many of them, but what you have to understand is where are you finding them? Where are you finding these men? Are you working on that strategic placement we're talking about? Are you putting yourself in the places
Mhm.
where they need
Right.
where you would find these types of men that are work? Because I'm telling you, in my circles, I know some guys that are single, got money, got their stuff together, don't have a woman because they're running into the wrong women. They're running into the 304s. They're running into the selfish people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about matchups. Your initial attraction sometimes you have to be more disciplined and say, look, you may like certain things about them physically and stuff like that, but it's like,
Right.
is that going to be a good mate for me long term? Is every other woman looking for the same
Right.
things out of these guys? You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
that's the problem. And a lot of women waste their youth on these dudes. And it's
Yeah.
no secret that it gets harder as you get older. It's not impossible. There still is hope, but you can't ignore the fact that as you age, men and women, it's more difficult to find a suitable mate.
Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. That's men and women. I'm glad you pointed that out because they like to say it's just the women when I don't believe that to be true because we both are people and we both have shortcomings as we get older. We get older and we lose whatever what did y'all call it? The sexual
Marketplace value.
marketplace value. We both do. I just hate that men try to throw it on women. Yes, women age, but guess what? We in modern times. These modern women have it together. The 60-year-old women of today is not the 60-year-old women of yesterday. Like, be honest. If you keep yourself up, age is really we should not practice ageism because it's really about how you keep your health together, your hygiene, your appearance. Because there's some older people that look damn good. So we can't keep putting age on it. And then there's some 20-year-olds that's washed up. So I mean, yes, everyone hits the wall. Everyone hits the wall. And guess what? It's all at different ages. There's some 30-year-old men right now that done hit the wall. How do you say? Because they got a limp noodle at 30 years old. How do you have a limp noodle at 30? 30. And I'm not even joking. I know a couple of them.
Okay.
I mean, I did. I'm just
Okay,
saying, you
so
know
I,
why?
I,
Because
I
you can
guess you've had a
abuse your
few
penis.
experiences with
You
that.
can
Gotcha.
abuse it.
Okay, understood.
I'm just saying.
Now, I mean, the reason why men would find um, certain men, right, would find younger women attractive is if they haven't started a family yet and everything else. And even if a 60-year-old is taking care of herself, soup to nuts, right? Fertility is still, an issue. After what 35 is considered a geriatric pregnancy. So that's part of it. If you're trying to get together with someone to start a family, now there is a different type of men which most people don't talk about. There's the people who have already had a family or just a late bloomer, right? They might not have been married at that point. There are some in their 40s, some in their 50s that are beyond the family stage. They don't want any kids. They're good, or maybe they couldn't even have kids, right? This isn't the overwhelming majority. We know that, but they do exist, right? And I feel like it's a little bit beyond anecdotal. There are some men who maybe they have been married before and they've already did the family thing, and maybe they just want a companion now. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
there's always that. But again, they're rare. They are rare. So you would have to work at it to be able to grab one of these guys. And what I'm saying is, a lot of the things that you mentioned doing, and some of the behaviors that you understand now that men appreciate, um, I feel like if women do these types of things, then it would compel a man to stay with you, because at this point you are supplying something that he realizes. After a certain age, you realize that many women, the good ones do, but many women don't take the time to cater to
Mm-hmm.
a man and consider a man and try to think for him in a positive way. Think of what his desires are, think of what his needs are, and fulfill it before he can even ask it. That's a
Mm-hmm.
different ball game. That's another level. Um,
That's another.
Men and women should both practice this. It's just goes right back to what I began with: consideration. You should always consider your partner. Do whatever it is that you think that they would want before they do it. Let me see. I'm
Right.
into a let me see. Can't relate. I'm 30. Okay. I'm gonna call in to tell my opinions, but maybe next time. You can call in. The number's right there, Godson. It's even if it's just quick, you want a quick question, you want to ask and then hang up, that's cool too. The number is 609-666-2995. There are no interruptions as long as that number is scrolling, just so you know. We will be able to get back to whatever we're getting back to. If you would like to call in, do not hesitate. Call the number. It's right there, 609-666-2995. There is no wrong time to call as long as the number is scrolling. If I don't want you to call, I'll take it off. You're good. So you can feel free to call that number up at any point. As long as it's scrolling by, you're good to go with that. But do you have anything else on that?
Yeah, that's pretty much
That's
that
it on
was
that.
pretty much it. I just feel like I said, I don't have all the answers, and I know a lot of people
None of us have
that
all the
have
answers.
watched me. Right, a lot of people that have watched me who know my story, they feel like, oh, she would be a horrible girlfriend. That's why you single and this and the third. But that's not the truth. I choose to be single right now because, like you said, sometimes you have to just
Sit
sit
down.
down
Yeah.
and figure yourself out because I don't want to attract someone that's vibrating low, because this is the energy that I'm trying to come out
Yeah,
of. I
absolutely.
want
That
to
makes
I
perfect sense.
want someone who's on the upswing with me. So, um, although you may desire something, it doesn't mean that it's supposed to happen at the time of your desires. Sometimes you go back to the drawing board and you figure out how to get to that. And how to manifest. You can manifest what you want, but you have to be strategic, be intentional, with the
Okay.
type of partner that you want. So that's just where I am with it. Like I know next time what I need to do. Um,
So
that's my added version. Go
you feel
ahead.
like you've grown a lot since your last relationship. You took some time to reflect, and you said you. I
Absolutely.
want to know, what is it? What are some of the things that you considered that you did wrong that you know you could do better, moving on to your first relationship? I mean, your next relationship. I'm sorry. What do you think? Some things that you did that were
Um,
wrong.
my attitude. My
Okay.
attitude definitely wasn't always the greatest. Again, as a woman, I didn't know how to express my hurt. My hurt turns into anger, and that's not good. That's why I say be honest about your feelings up front because if you hold on to hurt, it kind of turns into something else. But when you address it up front and say, listen, this thing here bothers me, and you communicate it effectively and in a graceful way, then it can be resolved. But if you hold on to it, which I used to do, I hold on to things and I let it fester. And then when it does come out, it comes out angry
Or
and
you
it
just,
comes out
yeah,
unexpected.
it was just a blast at that point, right? And I can understand.
Right.
Yeah, it's an explosion,
And
and
it's
then at that
wrong.
point, nothing's going to be resolved because you out there. they out there now.
Now
This
I'm the
yeah,
villain.
yeah, yeah.
Is no hearing that. Men don't hear your anger, your rage, your pain.
So
Definitely not your pain.
what I say
Men
is,
definitely can't deal with pain.
um,
But go ahead.
men and women, just humans in general, are sensitive about when someone tells them about themselves that
Okay.
is negative. You know what I mean? That's just human nature. It's not men act like that. It's not women act like that. That's just human nature. No one wants to
Mhm.
hear that they are not doing
That they're
something right. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. That's life. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. Um, but it's all in a way that you can try and present it in a productive manner. It's sometimes tough conversations, but it is what it is. Some people is better to joke about it. Some people is, you know, um, the best policy is just honesty. No matter what, if you have an
hmm
issue with something, then you probably should just bring it up.
in a graceful way. Remember I said a graceful way because
Yeah.
especially when dealing with men, they don't like to hear that they're wrong, and it's a shutdown. Now I'm shutting down to this because she's not happy. I don't know if I can make her happy, and I just need for men to be more open to hearing a woman saying how they feel. But I also want women to say it in a graceful way that's not hurtful because I've been that hurtful woman.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I would love to hear
I
an
have been.
example if you can remember anything, because I think it's important for people to understand, because some people may not understand how you mean. If
What
you give
hurtful
any
is.
example, just some fly stuff you said before to somebody that you feel like, all right, because some people don't know. They don't. I want some context if you can, because I would love for people to understand these examples. So, because some people don't even realize some of the things that they do in the wrong. That you were in that place at one point. So some of the things that you did and said,
Right,
people didn't understand. So if you could give any example, it don't have to be too personal, but just something fly that you said to somebody that was like not cool, because a lot of people don't
right,
understand these things.
right. Like I said, I'm just focusing on my last relationship, which was
Yeah,
with
that's
my
fine.
children's
That's
father.
fine. That's fine. Whatever.
So I'm trying to think back at something when we were together that I might have said or done that was very nasty.
Mm.
So I think that when we lived together, I would get upset at him every now and then and kick him out. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, all right, you could go. Oh, you don't want to be here? Okay. Or like, say for example, he did something wrong. Like maybe he stayed out all night. And I'm like, oh, you can go right back to where you were. Something hurtful like that. Like instead of me being graceful about it, because
Okay.
I was actually hurt. You did actually do something. Like where were you, right?
Yeah.
But could my approach in the situation have been more graceful? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
could I have just not spoken to him? Just totally just me shut down and not say anything instead of
Well,
arguing
I don't.
or trying to kick him out.
I don't feel like shutting down would have been the answer. Um,
Hmm
I feel like you could have just said, "Hey, listen. You know, if you out like that, I'm worried about your well being, um, or what it is that you're doing, and if that was going to happen, maybe you should contact me. If it's not his normal behavior. There are some people who are out. You know what I'm saying? I work in the daytime and at night, and it is what it is. But if this is just something out of the ordinary and it's strange, then that might get somebody
Yeah,
worried. So at least contact would have been sufficient. You know what I'm saying? And if you would have presented it that way, it probably wouldn't have went as bad or whatever. But at the same time, if he's doing something wrong too, because he didn't contact you and that's not his normal behavior, so he violated also. So there's absolutely things that he could have done better, things that you could have been done better, and it goes back to respect, which we talked about earlier.
it's
You know what I'm saying?
respect. It's just, and it goes both ways. That's what I said. It's hard for me to pinpoint that situation because it was
Yeah,
like he would do things and I would counteract. But looking back, I know I probably took things too far. I can admit that where I get in this zone of like how could you do that? And it becomes nagging. It becomes nagging, which that's another thing, ladies, that men don't like. They don't take kindly to nagging. You can't really reiterate the same thing over and over again because they're not going to hear it.
Yes.
Most men. I'm not saying you per se, but most men, they don't want to hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
that's true. I don't like to hear the same thing over and over. You know what I mean? But anything that's an issue, I try to address it the best I can, if I can. There are some instances where I can't. I appreciate you subbing too, man. For real, godson. We get it in. We talk about relationships, mental health all the time. This is what we do here. Um, yeah, so I definitely understand that part. That's a real thing. But I don't. Sometimes you just don't want to hear. It depends. Timing is one thing too. So what I would say is you don't sit on anything and fester it. But at the same time, if somebody just got off work or whatever, or they're going through something, it's all about timing. You wait till the first calm moment that you find, and you just explain what it is that you feel in a calm manner. And it's hard to be a beast when somebody else is being calm. You know what I'm saying? If
absolutely.
your approach is human, then it's difficult for somebody to be like, no, no, no. You're not gonna be on that rah rah if somebody's speaking to you like a human being. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
I think you're gonna be fine. I think you're gonna be fine.
You
When
think
you're
I'm going
ready,
to be fine?
because
Okay.
yeah, I think you're gonna be
When
fine.
I'm
If
ready.
long as it ain't no cap out here, you gonna be good to go. If you really feel the way you saying you feeling right now, and your approach is going to be the way that you're explaining it to me right now, you're gonna be fine because I'm telling you, and a lot of men in here co-sign this. They understand what it is that you are trying to do, and that you're learning, you're growing. You realize you made mistakes. You realize you're human, and you are on a mission to get better at
Right.
it. You're working on it. You're working on
Right.
yourself. You're not bringing the baggage into a new
Absolutely.
relationship. You're gonna, by the time you get into that relationship, you'll be
Hmm.
an improved person, and hopefully you can find somebody who's got their situation together also. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the
It's
hard
just
part. But like I
about, like you
said,
said, it's timing.
strategic placement. Strategic placement. I work on people with this. Anybody who wants to know about strategic placement, my @ is on there for my social media. DM me. We can do phone or text or whatever. I do consultations for people who, men and women, who are not in their best situations. I I try to help people um, get what it is that they want in life, not just relationships, but a lot of different things. That's what I work on. I'm all for the improvement of people. I love to see people do well, excel, and get better at things. And I like how you're speaking right now, because this is you realize where you were and you realize where you're going. That's a different story. That's not the
Right.
rhetoric that many women have. There's always growing to do. I try to grow as a human being every day. I am nowhere near perfect. My relationship is not perfect, but we work on it, and it's sustainable. We've been together for a very long time. We just did 15 years of marriage, so you know what I mean.
Oh, wow.
We're doing all right, right?
Amazing.
Shout out to the wife, right? We
Okay.
getting there,
Congrats to that.
and I feel like if I wasn't trying to help other people be successful, then I'm doing them a disservice and myself a disservice. Because, in all honesty, you got a whole bunch of red pill people and people who are not trying to be productive telling you how to conduct a relationship, people who are not in a relationship. I would not
Mm-hmm.
seek financial counsel from somebody who's broke. I'd look for someone who's doing well financially. I wouldn't see a mechanic whose car's broken down. So why would I take advice from an individual who is broken, right? And not to say that I have all the answers, but I absolutely can help many people get to a better place than where they are. And that's part of my mission. I want to see humans do well in general. I want to see us grow as a society, as a community, and I'm going to do my part to do that. So it's almost time for us to get up out of here, man. We've been going hard. We've been going strong. This is an excellent conversation. I might have to jump in your platform at some point. Anybody who has not
Yeah.
subscribed to Goddess Masterpiece, please do. You can find her very easily. Hit up that Goddess Masterpiece. If you want to give them your if you want to give them any of your information, um, go ahead.
Okay.
Give them everything. Take your
Um,
time.
Okay, well, again, you can follow me on or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Goddess Masterpiece, and that's PEACE, like the peace sign. I also have a tarot channel if you're into tarot, Divine Harmony Tarot. I'm on there. Not as much, but I'm getting there. Um, you can also follow me on Instagram. I changed my Instagram, so it's my real name. It's Aaliyah underscore Khadijah. Let me see if I can put that in the chat right now.
Yeah,
I'll
put it in
put
the
that in the
chat. Put
chat.
it in the chat for them so they can
I'll put
all
my Instagram
grab
in
it
there
everything.
and everything. And I also have a website. But if you guys go onto my Instagram, everything is connected. If you go on any of my YouTube videos in the description box, all my handles are usually in there. And yeah, that's really all I'm really promoting for right now. Um, I'm supposed to be dropping something on the MX network, but we'll see what's going on with that. So
That's the
stay tuned for
advertisement I
that.
saw. Yeah, I saw you got the trailer up, right? On your YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's coming soon, coming soon. But yeah, other than that, I definitely love this conversation. I hope we do this again.
Oh yeah,
It's
I'm with
definitely
it. I'm with it.
interesting to talk to a married man. That's definitely a new twist. Because most of the men that want to do videos with me, they're single or
And I'm
things
gonna tell
like
you,
that. So this was
yeah,
needed. This was
yeah.
needed.
And you can be successful. Like I said, my relationship is not perfect, but I know how to work on it. You know what I'm saying? And it is work. A relationship is work because it's two different humans trying to coexist. There is no relationship
Right.
that you have in life where everything is perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. It's work. No matter how you flip it, it's work. And I appreciate your perspective. I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate your honesty for sure. You've been very forthcoming. For real. We definitely appreciate that. For real, for real, for real, for real. For real. Like,
Okay.
there's not many people who are as candid and as honest as you are forthcoming. I commend you for it. And we'll see. We might have you back. I might jump on your channel and we could do a different topic or whatever.
Yes.
But I've enjoyed this. It's been very productive. I feel like I learned a lot today. I feel like you have as well. I feel like the mob, all my mobsters, and everybody who you brought through too, may have
Yes.
got some value out of this today. And
Yes.
hopefully, we get a few thousand views on this bad boy, um,
Yes.
and people continue. So, for sure, definitely check Goddess Masterpiece out. We appreciate
Yes.
you, and looking forward to hearing
Thank
from you
you.
soon. All right, see
Yes,
you
you
out.
too. Have a great night.
All right, all right, all right. Later. And I appreciate everybody who jumped in, everybody who conversated. We love you for it. Thank you for all your engagement. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for participating. And, we'll be back here. Anybody who is new to the channel, I normally go live every Wednesday. I upload sporadically. I am doing more uploading right now. I got the setup at home now, so I'm about to be getting busy. You'll see some more reviews. You'll see some more discussions. We discuss mental health, relationships, and how they coexist and correlate. Better yet. And thank you again for coming through. We appreciate you, and hopefully, we hear from you soon. It is about time to get up out of here. I'm going to play my little outro music. And as always, stay hungry, my friends. Never thirsty. We're out.